Hello everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to another video. So in this video, we'll work on improving our username support because currently it's not really working yet. And then we will work on notifications. So first thing we want to do, let's start on our backend. So here, when we create a new client, now we want to add here a username argument, username. So because we added an argument, let's check if this argument here was defined. So let's do it the proper way. If username equals undefined. Oops, if I only I could spell. Then if this equals undefined, what we want to do is we want to return console error. User must have a username. Okay, so this is it. And we want to add this username right here. So now we need to add this username wherever we call this function, which is, okay, we call this function here, and here we have the message with a type connect. So we have a message and then username. Because on the connect message, I believe on the front end, where we send the connect message, yeah, exactly, we send the username. Okay, so this is it. And then we need to do one more thing. So wherever our user connects to our application, we need to send them a message that basically will say, okay, hey, this is the list of currently connected users. So we need to do it here, right? So first we send the notification to all the clients which were connected before this user connected, saying, hey, this particular user has connected. Then we add this client to our map, and then we send the message to this particular user that, hey, this is the list of all the usernames that are currently connected. So for this, let's define a function. Let's say function get usernames, and we'll say take clients here. So basically what it will do, it will extract the usernames from our client's map, so from our client's metadata, because it's not as straightforward. And so what we need to do is, let's first check the argument. So if clients equals undefined, we want to return console. So I'm not using guard clauses for the whole application, so let's stay consistent. Get usernames needs a client. And here basically, of course, you can have a little bit more, a little bit better error handling in your application. You can actually throw errors instead of just displaying like the default error message, sorry, default error with like a message. And then you could somehow perhaps better catch the errors, but this is not currently a topic for us. So what we'll return is we'll return a usernames. Usernames will be an array, and we'll construct the array in a following way. We'll say for const and now underscore, we'll destructure our map. So we'll say for key and value of our map, so of clients. What you have to do is take our array that we have defined here. Let's push a new value to it, and the value is value.username. And then we return, not here, we don't want to return inside the loop, we want to finish the loop and then return our usernames array. Okay, let's get this function, and here let's say ws.send, so websocket.send, and now json.stringify, and inside here we say type will be usernames. We will need to, not equals, but a colon. We'll need to add support for this on the front end, and then we say usernames here, get usernames, and we put our clients here. Okay. This should work. So now every time that somebody connects, they should get a usernames message. So let's maybe check that. And we here have an unknown message type. That's actually good, because so far we do not have a support on this on the front end. So let's actually work on this now. So we are here on our front end, and now here let's close this, let's say else if parentheses and brackets. Okay, and here in the if statement we say message.type equals usernames, and here we'll need to handle it. So here handle refreshing usernames. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to define some functions that will actually do that for us. So I think we can define two functions. So first off, we can define a function which adds username to the list. The reason I want to separate this logic from the other logic, even though it will not be as optimal, because if we'll be refreshing the whole list, we'll be adding the user by user, which is slower than if you just generate the list in memory and then add it all at once. So essentially, when you do DOM manipulations, so as fancy way to say HTML manipulations with JavaScript, you want to first generate this in JavaScript, and only after you generate everything that you want, you add it to your DOM, right? And here we'll be adding it name by name, but as these are not very many names, this should not be an issue. So function add username to list until to the username. And what we want to do here is, first off, we do what we do always. We check if we have a user. If we don't, then we throw an error that a username must be defined. But if we have a user, we look up our box usernames. So document.query selector, and I believe we have something with an ID of box usernames. Let's just double check it. Box usernames. Oh, it's actually a class. Okay. Let's use a class then here. And then we have also, let's say, const new username equals document.create. Oops, if only I could spell. Create element. And here we want to insert a tag that we want to create, and we want to create a div. Now, this div will have a text content. And here, very important, we are using text content, not inner HTML of username. And then we append it. Oops, username. And then we say box usernames.append child new username. And that's it. We have our new username. Now, the next thing is we need to basically define a handler for our username refresh. So once we get a list of all the usernames, what do we do? And this will be the function that will handle that for us. So basically handle username refresh, new usernames. Let's maybe say that it's a function, not a function call. So basically now we can check, right? Because new usernames, what we expect is that new usernames is actually an instance of so it's an array, right? So it's an instance of array. Where array is its prototype. So here we return an error, console error, and new usernames must be defined. Let's maybe do a lowercase here. Okay, so once we checked it, we empty what we already have if we have something in the box usernames once again. So once again, we say document.query selector. Once again, we are using our class to select the box usernames. And if there is something there, we are emptying it. So text content equals empty string, and we add the username. So it's super simple. We just say new usernames that for each. So for every element of an array, we'll execute something, and the something will be our callback function that will take a username. So username here will be just one element of the array. And what we say is we say just add username to list, username. And this is very simple now. Okay, and now we can take our function, we can bring it up here, and we can just call it right here with message.usernames. Because this is how we currently defined it, exactly, usernames. Okay, that's good. So now we need one more message type. So we need a message type that will tell us or tell all the other clients that, hey, there is a user that has connected. So basically, this is this connect message, right? So we need to now answer or define a handler for the connect type. First thing we should do is probably here in the connect message, we should say username, because we want to know what user with what username has actually connected. And this we can get from our metadata username, right? Because here we have created our metadata object, or rather we have returned the metadata of our user from our create new client function. And we can currently use it here. Okay, so let's currently go to our front end. Here, let's define one more else if. Here and here, our parentheses. Okay, and now we say message. Oh no, we already have a message type connect. Whoop, I go back because here we already have a message type connect. We are just, let's check how we named the function, add username to list. We just add our username, message.username to list, and this should work. Okay, we have done quite a bit of changes now. Let's see if they all work now. So here, if I just refresh it right here and refresh it right here, I still get an unknown message type. Okay, because we get a type of username. And we should be getting a type of user names. Okay, and now we can see basically test user, test user, test user. And now every time, because the session is not refreshed or the session is not stopped, if we refresh this, there's new user connecting every time. It's named the same way, but if I stopped it here, if I started once back again, because it's not saved, it's not persisted in any database, this will be a reset. So basically now, because we don't have yet a functionality that would remove the user from the list, we will be getting we'll be getting new messages every time, and the old users will not be removed. But actually, let's define such functionality. How we can do that is we go back to our backend, and now we go to our ping function. In our ping function, what we can do is we can add here, when we send the message to all clients in type disconnect, first off, what we can do is we can add a username. And the username we get very simple. We say clients.get and then client and then username. So basically client is the client that is currently being processed in the loop. And then we say usernames. So we'll send in the same message all our usernames. Once again, these are get usernames, client. And here we need a comma. Okay, so now we have this, and this will be a little trick. So we'll not actually remove the user, because then we would need to keep some sort of an ID. We'll actually refresh the list every time somebody disconnects, right? So now when somebody disconnects, we will just refresh the whole list. And it's super simple. We just find our disconnect part. It's up here, so we can remove this. And what we can just use is we can use handle username refresh. And now if I refresh it here, you should start noticing that once the previous application, let's maybe, oops, here we have an issue of clients. Okay, let's take a look. This is in our app in 82. Okay, here clients is not iterable. And here it's because here we need clients, not a client. Okay, let's once again. Here we connect. Let's connect a few more times. And now, once the heartbeat functions start being exchanged and the instances which connected with the previous users are no longer available, now we should start basically seeing that the previous test users should start disappearing. And currently I think they are not disappearing because we are missing one more thing on our backend. So basically what we are missing is here we need to say clients.delete client, because currently we are not removing the client from our map. This is why it works currently indefinitely. So let's once again create some of clients and let's wait a little bit. Okay, and now you can basically see that once I produce a lot of these users, will basically start that they will start disappearing and they will start disconnecting. Okay, that's perfect. So basically this is good. Currently we are getting notified that our users disconnect and what users are currently connected to our chat application. So next step for us is to display our notifications. So we are already on our front end. Let's scroll down once again and let's define a function here. So the function will be called, let's say, display notifications. And it will take a text type of a notification. We want to display two different types at least. So one like an info, okay, user has connected, here, watch out. And the other one just maybe like a standard type of notification that somebody has joined, for example. And I will set a duration. I am setting a duration because we'll make the notifications appear and then disappear. So basically I'm setting a notification, a default duration. So we start with the boring part, which means that we checked all of our inputs. And if something is wrong, we just say an error message. Then we are expecting, let's say that currently we'll support two types of our, that we will support two types of messages. We'll support an info and then an error. And this array will now, we will check if it includes our type. And this whole comparison here is supposed to be equal to false. If it's equal to false, meaning it does not include it, so we'll just return console.error type of notification not supported. And here I forgot a return. Okay, and then basically if our duration is equal to undefined, we will return console.error notification must have a duration. Okay, let's save it. So now let's create a new element. So let's call it notification and let's say that document create element and let's just create a div. Okay, then the notification text content will be the text argument. The notification will have a class, so we'll say notification.classList.add, and we'll definitely add always a notification class. And then I will copy this, paste it right here, and I will also add here using string interpolation. I will add here a $sign type. So basically type error or type info class. And then I will add here a show class, and the show class will be important for us. I will show you why in a second. So basically we'll use that to animate the notification. Okay, but let's say const, and then let's say the area for notifications. I think we actually have to create it, so we'll create it in a second. For now, let's say that it will be document, and then we will select it using the query selector. And let's say it will have a class of area notifications. Okay, and then, so we'll just say area notifications dot append child, and we'll append our notification. And then we will set a timeout, and you'll also see why we are setting this timeout in a second. But just so you know, we are setting this timeout so that this message actually disappears. So once we create the message, we say notifications dot class list dot add, and then we say hide. Hide class is to hide something, and then here we say comma duration. So after 5,000 milliseconds, so 5 seconds, a hide class will be added to our notification, and the notification will disappear. Okay, so that's it for our function now. So I believe we need to go to our client.html now, and we need to add our area for notifications. So let's go right here. Let's say div, and we defined it with a class of area notifications. Okay, let's save that. So now I believe we can go to our script.js, and we can add here a few places where our notifications should be displayed. So here we want to display a notification when is it display notifications or display notification? Display notifications. Let's make a display notification, the function name. And up here then, where were we? Here. Okay, so let's make display notifications, and let's say that the text will be user. And then let's put here a message dot username has connected, and then let's make a comma, and here let's say that it is an info class. So the classes currently don't matter, they will matter later on with CSS. And here we want to do the same thing, but we want to put an error class, and we want to say that user has disconnected. Okay, so now we have our notifications, and let's test them shortly right now. So let's refresh tab, let's refresh this one, and let's say test. So okay, we have our notification, but we are not getting a notification that a user has connected, right? And we should be getting. And I think the reason is I've made a silly mistake. So I have actually put it here inside of the dialog box, while it's supposed to be outside of the dialog box, because currently we could not see it. And now we can see that test user has connected, and then some users have disconnected. And this all works currently very nice for us. Okay, let's see if the messages here are still exchanged. Okay, that's very good. So now the only thing that's left for us to do, I believe, is to make this application feel a little bit more enjoyable by actually going into and creating a styles.css file and defining some styles for our application so that it will work both on mobile and on desktop. However, with this, we will take care about this, we'll take care in the next episode. So for now, we have fully working application. These are all the features that we will implement. From the functional perspective, now we'll only make it look nice. But for now, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and leave me a comment what I could improve, what you would like to see in the future especially. And I will see you in the next video. One more thing. What I've just noticed is that if we just refresh the application many times, and now soon we'll start getting the disconnect messages. Basically, we'll have two instances of the test user. And I think it's because here, the way we are sending the disconnect message. So what we can do is define here a disconnect username where we basically take this part and we'll send it. However, before we send, we'll delete the client. And now, if we refresh, I believe, now we'll get, after we start getting the disconnect messages, we'll get only one user here. Okay, so this time for now, thank you all for watching. Once again, do not forget to hit the like button if you have liked the video, and I will see you in the next one.